hereby call the City Council meeting to order on Thursday, November 13th at 4:48 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to introduce our City Council. I'm the Mayor, Ann Hunt. To my left is Mark Vanderlinde, Arlene Donahue, Bob Christians, and Tyler Abens. At the far end is Paul Hornby, our City Engineer. To my right is Mike Caproni, Interim City Administrator, Brian Grimm, Finance Director, David Abel, Community Development Director, Ron Beatty, our City Attorney, and Paul Falls, our Director of Public Safety. Our next item on the agenda is to approve the agenda, and we have a few additions under the consent agenda. Letter G, accepting the work and approving final payment for the Loring Drive retaining wall construction project. We'd like to add contingent on receiving IC 134 form. And the second change that we're going to add under business items,
Should be G.
G. We'll add the recommendations for council action on the water treatment project, which include approving the water main routes, approving property research along the balance of the routes, approving the survey work along the balance of routes, approve agreement for design services, and retain the right-of-way agent.
And I'd like to pull D and E for further discussion on the consent.
On the consent, okay, D and E, pulled. Okay, any other changes?
Could you add Rick Buss to the persons to be heard?
Who?
Rick Buss.
Okay. Any other changes to the agenda? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with changes presented.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it, 5-0. Okay, next item on our agenda is persons to be heard. The City Council invites residents to share new ideas or concerns related to city business. However, individual questions and remarks are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. No City Council action will be taken, though the Council may refer issues to staff for follow-up or consideration at a future meeting. The Mayor may use discretion if speakers are repeating views already expressed or ask for a spokesman for groups of individuals with similar views. Speakers should state their name and home address at the podium before speaking. First person is Andrea Falmoudy.
My name is Andrea Falmoudy. I live at 1260 Morning View Drive. Mayor Hunt and council members. I just have a couple of questions related to the Bolton and Meigs presentation and the water main routes. And my first question is, if you put the water main along the Dakota Rail Corridor, what effect is that going to have on the bike path? That bike path is heavily used, and I would imagine there's going to be a lot of digging, and is it going to shut down that section of the bike path for a long period of time? So I hope you would take that into consideration, because I think you'll have a lot of unhappy residents out there if that bike path is put out of service for a long time. And then I had a question, are the existing water mains being used as much as possible? So if that, whatever route, there's already existing water mains obviously feeding the people that are on city water, and are those water mains included in the current design plan of where the water?
Yeah, I believe Seth addressed that in his presentation. But do you want to address that again?
Sure, yeah, existing water mains, what we're planning to use, wherever they're possible, we're going to reuse those as much as possible, because that's already infrastructure that the city's paid for. Hopefully that answers that question. And then on the question on the route that we're asking for approval on is not along the Dakota Trail. it's an alternate route, so we would not be going along that trail portion.
But the route that you said on the Dakota Rail corridor, isn't that along, so it's not along the trail?
The alternate that we're proposing is that was alternative 1. We're actually asking for approval on alternative 2 to not go down that, just because of various permitting issues and timing is really what it comes down to also.
So you pretty much taken alternate 1 off the table?
Yes.
And then I just had another question, and you may have answered it for Lisa, but I didn't understand why the fire hydrants couldn't continue to be connected to the raw water main, and why we have to disconnect them and connect them to the treated main.
Yeah, raw water mains are used as, well, you want to use, partly because of the pressure issue, a fire hydrant is there for fire suppression, and so on a raw water main, there's really no pressure on that unless the well is running, and so you could connect up to that at a time when you need fire suppression, and there's really no pressure there. On a finished water main, there's always pressure. It's provided by the water tower, so you always have pressure on that, so that's why you would want the water mains or the hydrants connected to the finished water main, because you're always under pressure. The other piece with that is that the fire hydrants act as a maintenance piece also on the finished water main. So that's why you want to move those fire hydrants over, so they're always on pressure.
Because right now, the raw water mains are.
They're finished water too. Yep. So what happens is you have a well in the ground, and that well comes out and ties right into your water main in town, and that water main then goes over and feeds the whole network of piping throughout the entire in that area, and it goes to the water tower if you have a water tower there. So that's how that works. Now what we'll do is take a raw water main, and that's going to run to the water treatment plant. And now the finished water comes out of the treatment plant, comes back and connects in, and provides that pressure and pressurizes the tower.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Okay, and it's Rick Buss.
Hi there,
Hi.
Rick Buss, 3915 Farmville Circle. Moved in probably 2 years ago, before or after the comments were made about the bike path going past the Farmville route, and would like to express my negative comments on losing privacy and just the overall look of the wild area in my neighborhood. So I'd just like to express that, having been here back when the original argument came. I'd like to state that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Your comments are duly noted. Okay, our next item is a special presentation of another CAFR
Yes.
Award for Brian. How many is this now?
I think this is, gosh, you'd think I'd know this. 2004 it's been since, by counting backwards, is that 10? Almost 10?
10 years.
So, yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. I'll keep this brief, but we did receive, just within the last month or so here, a notice that we did receive our CAFR award again for 2013 on our financial audit report that we sent to the Government Finance Officers Association, the national there. We did, I think this is attached on pages 34 to 39 of your packet, so you can see we are proficient in all areas. Is on the, I think it's on page 36 or 37 there as far as that. But I wanted to, they used to give the big plaques, now they give like a little coin that you put on. To put on the plaque, yes.
Yeah.
So I think it was a budget thing for the GFOA, I'm sure, as far as instead of sending a plaque each year, I think there's 10 spots now, I think that we'll get 10 little coins, I guess.
I think they just figured you were running out of room on your wall.
Well,
Yeah.
that is
We
part of
are.
it too, yeah. We're trying to configure out there, so. But, yeah, and I wanted to make sure I thanked my staff, Angie Bowl, she's been here several years, and she's our associate accountant, and Don Muchko, who's our utility billing specialist. She got to go through the audit here for the first time last year, and they both did a great job. And we also had a new auditing firm of Clifton Larson Allen, so there was that went well also. And so yeah, I just wanted to I guess accept this award for the city, I guess, and just report that to the council, that good positive news. So.
Yeah, Well, congratulations, Brian.
Yep, thank you.
It's well deserved.
Good work.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, well, moving on to the consent agenda. Let's start with discussion of letters D and E. So approve sending a letter of support to the Met Council for the Three Rivers Park District 2040 Regional Trail System Plan. I believe you were
Yeah.
interested in discussing this, Tyler?
Yeah, my thoughts on this are, it's late as, I think, was this yours?
Correct.
David? It's late and it doesn't really affect us from what I understood looking at the map. Only the purple paths were affected. So, I mean, I'm fine to just
okay.
approve it, but I don't know if that would harm reputation. I'm used to in business, you do things on a schedule, there's a deadline, and they got it to us like 2 days before the deadline. So I don't know, is it gonna do anything, David, if we send it?
The discussion I had with Three Rivers Park District is always better to send it late than not to send it at all would be their preference. So it's totally up to the decision of the council. It was a request that came from them, so.
Okay,
Why not send it then?
okay.
That's kind of where we're at.
All right, well, then I'm looking for a motion.
I'll motion to re-include that item in the consent
Well,
agenda.
we should
Or-
probably take care of it separately, since
Okay.
we pulled it already
All right.
from the consent agenda. So let's just do
I'll
letter
motion
D.
to approve the letter to the Met Council for the Three Rivers Park District to include the extra.
Okay, second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes carry it 5-0. Okay, and E, consenting for the acquisition of property rights for purposes of a future regional trail across and adjacent to 6 Mile Marsh.
Yeah, and so usually I think we have a plan before we consent to allow them to purchase the land. I just think without knowing anything, there's no reason to make the exception. They want to get back to, do you want to explain the situation? They want to get back to someone.
Because it is part of a plan. We approved a regional.
Sure, it is
park.
approved. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. The city itself has approved this plan, this route and corridor in our Parks, Trails, and Open Space plan back in 2012. That was then forwarded on to Three Rivers Park District for them to incorporate into their regional plan. And as Mr. Abens is pointing out, typically when they get their regional plan done, they will bring that back to the city to sign off on, which is consistent with what we've already signed off on. And that then gets forwarded to the Metropolitan Council. The reason this is a little bit out of order and that they're asking to pursue the purchase of land before we have the plan in front of us is because they have willing property owners in that area that have been reaching out to Three Rivers Park District and been waiting a year and a half or so on Three Rivers to act. And basically not wanting to wait anymore, and this being a crucial link or piece of the puzzle of the overall regional trail, Three Rivers wanted to act on this first to allow for the property owners to either decide whether they're going to negotiate with Three Rivers or they're going to put their property on the market and it goes on to then another private individual. So that is why this is a little bit different in terms of the timing in which they're asking for the approval. The one difference though here is that in this case the city did incorporate this in as part of our Parks, Trails, and Open Space plan. So that is the little slight difference, if you will, to this situation. But yes, certainly a little bit out of ordinary to what Three Rivers usually does. They do have their draft plan done. It's been to the Met Council for comment and review. And I am anticipating bringing that to council at one of the meetings in January for review.
Okay.
It's not real different than Camp Kingswood, because my understanding is in the future, they're going to use that as part of the trail connection.
Correct. That's correct.
The only reservation I have about this, concern I guess, is hopefully Three Rivers will keep in mind when it comes to getting our easements, that we're kind of partnering with this thing. I mean, I don't want to end up with a huge bill from them for easements.
Right. We've had ongoing discussions, as well as Ken and Seth meeting with, or Ken and I have met with Three Rivers talking about it, and I have weekly conversations with Three Rivers Park District staff. They're well aware of the situation, and have been nothing but open to working with it. Their board has also been informed of the situation, given we were looking at using some of their property. The board was going to give authorization to negotiate with us, to work on that. So their board's been informed, their staff's informed. I certainly don't anticipate that being a problem.
Okay. Thank you.
And my other thoughts are, I know that a lot of the residents in that area don't want a bike path going through there, my parents included. And Ralph Hatch, one of the other properties, and I talked to him, and he only called Three Rivers because he wanted to see what they'd be willing to pay. He doesn't want it to go, and I think I've heard that he would be willing to give an easement for the water main if the bike path doesn't go through. So I think we need more information on this before just approving or consenting to allowing them to
Do you want
purchase
to
from
table
her.
this to our next meeting?
At least
Will
the
that
next
affect
meeting.
Three Rivers, or are we okay?
Well, it's going to be more of an effect on a property owner than it is to them.
'cause
with
I
the
don't
She's
think
wanting
it's-
to move to Belle Plaine.
Yeah, there's one property owner specifically that, south of Hatch property, that it's gonna have a larger effect on that person than Three Rivers or us. We can bring it back at a later date, but they're just being cognizant of her and her wishes to move on.
I'd like to bring it back to Monday, so
Oh.
I'd motion to,
Well, we're talking about not having a meeting Monday, possibly.
Oh, are we?
We were going to bring that up later. Well, Mike was.
oh, okay.
So
When
that
would
would
the
be
next
the
meeting
first
be?
December one.
meeting in December.
December 1st.
Mhm.
Can I make a point, please?
Well, sure.
Just clarification. My name is Ralph Hatch, and I'm not selling my property to Three Rivers.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah.
He
Yeah, I
just
didn't
wanted
think
to
it
get,
was him.
Yeah, he just wanted to get an appraisal from them, I think,
Yeah.
to find out
Okay.
how much it was worth.
Yeah,
And so I think we just want to find out more information on this, especially with the water main going through and the points Mark brought up,
okay.
before we get back to them.
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion then.
Well, I have a question for Dave. Dave, what do you see as the worst-case scenario here?
Edith puts her property on the market and then someone else purchases it, and it delays future purchase of a regional trail, and/or then we as a city have to negotiate with a new property owner for a water main easement. We'll have to deal with a private individual then in terms of getting, because we as well have to put our water main through this area.
Right.
And that's why right now Three Rivers is looking at aligning the pipe or their trail exactly with where the water main is going to be offset, not right on top, of course, but that's what they're working on together with Bolton and Mink and Three Rivers. So, and that's the
And the final approval of the sale comes back to us anyway, correct?
correct. It could, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so this
yep.
is just, you can start negotiating. This isn't final.
Okay, so they would come back for a
Yeah.
final approval.
They wouldn't necessarily have to. I mean, what this resolution is
do.
saying is if they reach an agreement with these property owners that they have the authority to buy, but I can certainly make that a condition of the resolution that each individual sale would have to come back.
All right.
Should we do it that way?
Yeah, I'd motion to
So the,
consent for the negotiation and then contingent upon bringing it back for final approval once they've negotiated.
Sure.
That makes sense.
Can I
Yeah.
add something to it? Is there any way to get if this happens, if they buy these properties or whatever it is it possible to get a price from them, what the easement's gonna cost us?
Absolutely. The appraisal that they're ordering, well, contingent on council approving this tonight, the appraisal will get started next week, and there's 3 separate costs they're going to get. The land itself, the cost for an easement for a trail, and then the cost for a water main, for the city's water main that would go through it. So when we'd be a party to that appraisal.
All right, because I would like to know what that cost is before we approve that sale.
Yep.
okay, so you made the motion?
Yeah.
Okay, a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it 5-0. Okay, so let's go back to our consent agenda. Looking for a motion?
Did you say anything about G?
Yeah,
Well,
we
they
added
amended.
that.
Okay.
We
Yep.
amended
So
it.
it'd be for items A, B, C, F, G as amended, H, I, and J.
So what do we need? Approve?
We need a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
I'll second it.
Oh, Arlene will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it 5-0. Okay. I believe Brian, wait. Oh, just a second. I gotta go back up here. I'm having a problem with the computer. It's freezing. Hold on. We gotta get this Citrix thing fixed. Okay. All right, we have no public hearings, so let's get to the business items. Who's handling canvassing of November 2014 election results?
I am Mayor.
Okay.
Mayor and council, the first thing that we'll need to do is to swear you in as the canvassing board. The city council serves as the canvassing board. I have a canvassing board oath that I will have you recite. I will say a phrase of the oath and you'll repeat after me. When I say state your name, don't say state your name, say your name. And then I have a form here that we'll need to have everybody sign, and then we'll have Joni as deputy city clerk attest to it and sign it. So let me read the canvassing board oath, and I'll try to break this up into doable chunks. So I state your name.
Ann Hunt.
I think I'll need to have all of you guys say it. Just say it at the same time. We'll just do it all at the same time. We won't do it individually.
Okay.
We're gonna kill everybody with
Okay.
if do it all individually. So all together now. I state your
Ann
name.
Hunt.
Tyler,
Do solemnly swear
Do
solemnly
solemnly
swear
swear
to support the Constitution of the United States,
to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and to discharge faithfully
and to discharge faithfully
the duties of the office of the canvassing board
the duties of the office of the canvassing board
of the city of Minnetrista, Minnesota,
of the city of Minnetrista, Minnesota,
to the best of my judgment and ability.
to the best of my judgment and ability,
So help me God.
so help me God.
And I think what I'll do is just, as we dive into this, I will just send this around and please sign your name in the appropriate slot and pass it to your left. And Tyler or Paul, whoever has it last, I'll take it back from you in a minute. So now that you are sworn in as the canvassing board, mayor and council, what we have in front of you is the results of the November 4th general and special elections. And the action item that we will need from you is to, now serving as the canvassing board, to certify the election results as provided in the abstract of elections. And the abstract of elections is included in the packet and is provided by the state of Minnesota. And also to approve the resolution and to accept those results as accurate official results of the municipal election held on Tuesday, November 4th. Before I guess you get to the motion, I'd like to just give out, thank you. I'd like to give out a special thanks. As you all know, Terry Harstead left our employment here in late October, which meant with very short notification, Angie Bowl, Dawn Motzko, and Joni Sanquist from our staff had to step in and execute the election, and they did a tremendous job. So I just want to publicly thank those staff members, and then also thank the election judges. We're very happy with the fact that we have head judges and election judges that are very seasoned, and they were able to, without a problem,
go to their polling area precincts, our 4 precincts, and be able to carry out the elections with no issues at all. So I would like to just make sure that they're recognized as well. So with that, Mayor, I would entertain a motion that you see on, with this item to certify the election.
Want to make a motion?
I'll motion to certify the election.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That's 5-0. Okay, next item is the sanitary sewer fund budget discussion.
Yes. Madam Mayor and Council, that's one is mine, and this, we've tackled the water and surface water funds at previous meetings, so now we are looking at the sewer fund, and this is on pages 103 to 107 of the packet. And I'll probably just touch on the memo of some of the high points, and then you'll see the attached spreadsheets. But the quarterly rate for the sewer fund has been $98 a quarter. That was last year. I think it was changed from 95 to 98. And the biggest driver of this of our increase has been the Met Council or the MCS charge. I mean, I guess two things: A, we're getting more people connected to the system, and B, I think I mean, their budgets has been increasing also. So I think with that combination, that's pretty much everything else in our budget is pretty stable, except for that item. And then obviously, well, we have our staff, salary and benefits. So those modest increases there, too. So I don't know if anyone has any questions. I guess I'll go ahead to the page 104, and that's when you can really see in the line 28 there, the sewer charges for the MCES. That's for 2015, it's going to be about $286,000. That's a good chunk of our overall budgeted expenditures there. So when I cash flowed this out, I thought if we were able to do a 2% increase, which would be from $98 a quarter to $100 a quarter, that would help keep pace and be able to at least keep our fund balance in that $500,000 to $600,000 range in the fund, which is about about a year's worth of expenditures, give or take, and then a little bit of flex if there's sometimes there's some major repairs or maintenance that come up in a year or something to that effect. So I don't know, we don't really have any other major budgeted capital items in the sewer fund. I think that's probably more the water treatment project's probably the big utility project that's budgeted for 2015. So I guess if there's not any questions, I would I guess ask council if they're okay with us incorporating that into the fee schedule that we bring back on December 1st. I guess staff would recommend that 2% increase to up the quarterly bill to $100 a quarter for residents that are on the sewer connected to the city sewer.
Any questions?
I'm not looking more just for consensus, if that seems okay, or
To bring it back, okay.
bring it back. Okay.
Part of the fee schedule, yep.
All right.
Do you
Thank-
need a vote, or just bring it back?
I think we just bring it
Bring it
back.
back.
If you're okay with the $100 a quarter, we'll just incorporate
We'll just
it
bring
part of
that.
the fee schedule.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
let's move on to the park dedication budget discussion.
Okay. Park dedication is on pages 108 through 111 of the packet, and this is always a joint venture between myself and the Community Development Planning Department, as well as the Park Commission, as far as putting that together, and then obviously bringing that to council from there. The couple main budgeted items that we have scheduled for 2015 is the try to bring back the Lyle Park tennis courts and see if we can hopefully get a better bid there this year and do that. And then the other major improvement is to do some things in the Gillespie, and I think that's outlined in the sort of the sub-report that's attached in there that Nick and David had put together. So pretty much our cash balance in the fund after doing those improvements would still be about, give or take, $1 million, $900,000 million, based on, we did receive some decent, for lack of a better term, I guess, park dedication fees during 2014 with some of the different developments that came in. So I guess we're looking, for if council has any comments or questions or suggestions on that. Otherwise, we would incorporate that into our financial management plan we'd bring back for December 1st.
I just have two things, if I may add, Madam Mayor. Just to note out, we did apply for the Hennepin County grant for the tennis courts. So hopefully, with more of a contribution towards that grant, hopefully we can be successful and offset some of that cost. And then the second thing I just want to mention as an update from the Parks Commission regarding the Gillespie Park. The dollar amount's just earmarked at this point, and what they're looking to do is hold a neighborhood meeting in January to get input from the neighborhood in terms of what exactly the improvements would look like, or essentially come up with a master plan for Gillespie Park. What is that going to look like, and what improvements will go in there, and we can then, depending upon what those improvements are, come up with a phasing plan for that and work towards the future. So you all may recall the property, the structures have been demolished, and it's sitting at grade, and didn't want to go much further until we got the survey work done, which we got back, and then we will, if it's all right with the council, hold a meeting with the neighborhood, with the Parks Commission at their first meeting in January, with a recommendation then to come on to City Council for what that master plan might look like. So just wanted to update you on that.
That's a good idea.
Yep, makes sense.
Okay.
Any other comments on that one? Otherwise, we'll bring those back with the final budget.
Yeah, I'd bring that back.
Okay.
Everybody's okay with that?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Tree replacement budget discussion.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. This ordinance was incorporated back in 2008. It was as part of our tree preservation ordinance. In 2010, it was amended to come up with specific uses of the fund if money were to ever be given to it. And this is the first year that money was ever contributed to that fund. So up until this point, there was $0 in that fund, and now having a fund balance of around $250,000, given the Orchard Cove development and then the Red Oak development's contribution to that fund. The purpose of the agenda item is to spark discussion with council as to what, if any, thing you'd like to do in 2015 from a budget standpoint with that money. There was a list of just brainstorming ideas listed in the packet. I believe there's 5 different ideas we put in the packet. What I have before you on the screen is language that comes directly out of the ordinance as to what the funds can be used for. Planting additional trees on public property, conducting environmental enhancement projects on public or private property. It lists some things that can include: invasive species, native plantings, projects or maintenance, monitoring the city's conservation easements, city-sponsored initiatives, activities regarding tree planting or environmental enhancements, or other environmental enhancements as approved by the city council. One thing I wanted to note as well is the Ryland Homes, who purchased the plat, if you will, from Source Land Company for Red Oak, is looking at revising their landscape plan to try to add more caliper inches to beef up the landscaping, add more buffering between the neighborhoods. And the question was asked as to whether or not the council would consider giving money back, and I said, well, it's never been done before. They've never been asked, but certainly if you had a plan you wanted to bring to council, we could ask them. So they're working on that. I don't have a formal proposal from them at this time, but just as you're thinking about this fund and account, and in terms of whether you want to do anything with it in 2015, knowing that might come as a request this winter. The other thing to consider with this fund is, looking towards the future with future developments. I don't see that there's going to be large contributions made to this fund in the future. Woodland Cove has not and will not have to contribute to this. And as you look at other properties that could potentially develop, there might be, the former trailer park site, you might get into something like that, but otherwise, it's not going to be an ongoing replenished fund. So Certainly could be more of a discussion than tonight in terms of long-term, to really think hard about and come up with policy as to what exactly do you want to do with it, because it's not likely going to last forever. So to try to make good use of that and make it go as long as you can. So again, looking for some direction, and completely understand that this could be an ongoing discussion with council as things come up and ideas come up.
Can you guys go over what you were talking about with the trees that would need to be removed for the open? You're talking there was some specific route where we'd need to remove some trees, and they wouldn't take kindly to that.
Well, that reference was crossing the Three Rivers Park property, which was included in alternate one.
Okay.
With alternate two, we don't have that issue, but we will have that crossing some private easements, most notably going north of Dutchview Drive, that passes through some wooded areas, so that we're likely to have to do some tree clearing to provide access for the water main. Initially construction and then for future maintenance.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think the priority should always be tree replacement first. So, and I think that if they are willing to buffer, I think we could probably contribute on some of them, maybe not all of it, but I think that if they want to plant more trees to buffer from Grandview Boulevard or back to the existing Red Oak, I think that that would be a proper use for that. And also maybe replacing some of the dead trees in Hunter's Crest. Now, what do you guys think?
Has the Parks Commission weighed in on this?
They have not. This is a new fund with new money. It doesn't necessarily fit under their, I guess for lack of a better word, job description in ordinance. This really more, it's something you certainly could bounce back to them if you'd like to have them take a consideration and make a recommendation to council. Certainly, that's absolutely an option.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what kind of opinion
Yeah,
they
and
have
there
on
probably
it.
should be a definition between what's going to be used for the tree fund as opposed to what's coming out of park dedication fees. So, for
Right.
example, if we're going to do trees on Gillespie, that's going to come out of the park dedication fund.
Right.
So maybe we need to refine the policy a little bit more.
Yeah, certainly. So, I mean, if it pleases the council, knowing these ongoing discussions that are coming up, is it kind of hold off with allocating any money for next year and start discussions with the Parks Commission, working on maybe a broader policy and working on that? Since
Yeah.
we just, it is a brand-new fund and haven't really had a lot of discussion with it.
Well, like you say, we got to make sure we do this one right, because it's not an endless
Right.
amount
Right.
of money.
Yep.
So we've got to make sure it lasts.
It's a little different than the park dedication.
Right.
Usually you
Right.
get some spurts and then you're able to, this is
Right.
going to be more of whether you want to parcel it out over 5, 10, 20 years or, just
Yeah.
some sort of plan. Or, I mean,
Right.
there's no rush to spend it or whatever.
Right.
So.
No.
Right. Okay. Our next discussion is the road maintenance fund budget discussion.
Yep. Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. This one should be a quick one. This is on page 124 and 125. It's more just incorporating, I think, from our overall budget or our global budget process. We added in, the main thing is that we're added to our 50,000 we had done a couple years ago. We're adding in another 100,000 to specifically fund this special revenue fund, and to we've been able to do some good things with the on the gravel roads with that fund, and now with the pavement management plan, that's where where the other 100,000 is planning to be allocated for. We've done some of the things with the dust abatement of all roads and the gravel placement projects and some things like that. So that's the type of things this or the road maintenance fund does, or those type of activities. So I'm just looking for the consensus again here. Basically the major changes when you look at the spreadsheet is in there. Where we've added the 100,000 to the property tax levy there. The street state aid is going to stay around that $80,000. But for our maintenance aid, we also get that construction allocation that goes into our MSA bucket to help us do a MSA project down the road. And otherwise, yeah, we spend it on improving our gravel roads and paved roads. So I don't know if there's any questions at this time on that attached budget. Otherwise, we'd incorporate that back into the final budget and long-range financial plans there also. So
No, I think we have to. I mean, we finally got some progress on our roads, and we gotta keep, we're committed to it, and we gotta keep doing it.
Yep. All right. We'll bring that back as pretty much as presented then, so to the final document. So
Okay.
thank you.
Next item is F, request for approval for personnel action.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is my item, and I'm going to give a brief overview of the 3 items that are on this request. The 3 items that I'm looking to deal with have to do with staffing. We did have a chance to have a personnel committee meeting a week ago on November 6th. It was council members Vanderlinde and Donahue, myself, as well as Finance Director Grimm. We meant to review these 3 items I'm about to bring up, and I'm going to go through them one at a time to kind of give you a little context. Terry Harstead, our city clerk, left employment in late October. She was in the position for 9.5 years. One of the things I would like to do is to get started rather quickly on trying to fill back her position. The one thing that I will note to you that's different about her job description is the communication duties. As people work in jobs in organizations like cities, you end up, because of the quality of the individual filling the job, end up, if they're very capable, giving them more to do. And this is certainly the case with Terry. She ended up with the communications chunk of the work required here to interact with our public. I want to remove that from the job description. We'll reassign that to the assistant city manager or city administrator position in the future. It's kind of a weird grouping of job duties to have a straight city clerk position and also does communications work. As I mentioned to the personnel committee, it's going to be quite a chore to try to find somebody to fill all those duties. Finding a city clerk I think it'd be hard enough. I think we'll find some qualified people, but I think it'd be even harder if we're asking for communication skills as well. So at least like doing newsletters and websites and things like that, which is what I'm referring to. So I'd like to pursue filling back that position. The second item is the Public Works Maintenance Worker position. If you recall, and if you saw in my item in the packet, this position was actually funded by the council back in, for this year, back in the discussions we had during the 2013 budget discussions, or during 2013 for the 2014 discussions. The purpose of this fillback position was to earmark it for somebody that would do utilities. At that time, the lot has changed in what we're doing for a water plant. It was 2 decentralized plants. Now it's a centralized plant, that kind of thing. So a number of things change, as well as the completion date. We thought roughly a year and a quarter ago, that we'd be well along on constructing a plant. Of course, that's all changed. So our public works area needs boots on the ground. They're short-staffed as it is with a number of different reasons, but in general, we're 2 people down from when I got here 4 years ago. This would get us 1 person closer to being kind of at that 2009 staffing level. When we get to the point of completing the water treatment plant, half a year or so ahead of that, hopefully we'll have the foresight enough to get into a budget, a utilities earmark position like this one. So I'm asking for the council to give me the go-ahead to start a process to recruit somebody that has a well-rounded public works background, not just a utilities-focused one. And so it's no additional cost for this, because like I said, it's already been funded, just unfilled this year. And then the final item, again, actually I didn't note it in my report, but it'll actually end up being a cost savings. Back in 2012, we created a public works director set of duties, contracting with WSB Engineering for those services when Mark Erickson was here as our city engineer. Those were additional duties that we paid for under the contract with WSB. And at that time, the intended goal was at some point in time to eliminate those duties and go back to having a Public Works superintendent. Right now, we have Gary Peters filling the Public Works supervisor role. It sounds similar, but there are different set of skills and duties that go along with being a superintendent. Gary's done a remarkable job in the last 2 years that he's been here. He's grown in the position. We feel he's ready to be the superintendent. So the action I'm asking you to kind of authorize me to do is be able to promote Gary to that superintendent role on January 1, and then work with WSB. I've already contacted Brett Weiss and told them we'll give them, they require a 30-day notice to change the contract. We'll give them that and the association between us and WSB for the Public Works Director duties only. The engineering stuff will be as it has always been with them. So those are the three things I just wanted to bring before you. Like I said, I got the approval of the Personnel Committee a week ago when Brian and I met with them, and they seem on board with that. So if you're all fine with that, unless you have any questions, we can certainly talk about it.
I did have one question. The
Okay.
second man in Public Works, do we have any time frame for when he'll be able to return?
We don't. He's still undergoing treatment. We had an injury that was lost time injury from an accident, and we don't have a timetable yet. He's home. He had his surgery. I think the only other thing I can really comment on is that he's still seeing doctors and they're still evaluating. So I haven't heard anything. I think the last time he had an appointment was about a week ago. I think he's scheduled in the next week or two. So I should get an update soon. I'm working with the occupational therapist and being kept informed about his progress. So they have his job description. He'll be released to be able to do that job when he can meet the duties according to the physicians that are attending to him.
Okay.
So
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to authorize city staff to begin a search to hire for both the city clerk position and public works maintenance worker position. Also authorizing city staff to end the public works director duties no later than December 1st of 2014 with WSB Engineering, and promote Gary Peters to public works superintendent on January 1 of 2015.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0. Ayes have it.
very good. Thank you, council.
Okay, now we'll move to G, which is actually 5 different items. First is to approve the water main routes. Alternate 2 route, which is water treatment plant to Linwood Boulevard, Dutchview Road, Game Farm Road to Linwood to well number 1, whether or not to include County Road 44.
Is this a package deal, or are we doing them individually?
We can either, whatever you want to do.
Well, I'll motion to move forward with alternate 2.
Okay. Second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Okay, the second item is moving forward Dutchview Road to Game Farm Road, Linwood to well number 1.
So moved.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? 5-0. Whether or not to include County Road 44. Do you want Seth to go over the pros and cons again? Are you okay?
If it's included in the plan and we get the funding for it, I assume we have to go ahead and do it. We can't hold on to the funds for a later date.
Well, you have to utilize it as part of that project. You couldn't bank them. So as part of that project, if you designed it and you got into design or into construction, you said, well, I want to do this piece, you could say, we're not going to do that piece, delete that from the contract, and that would come off of your PFA funding portion. So I guess you could do it that way, but it's not like you can save those monies for 5 years down the road and redo it at that time.
Okay.
I want to make sure I understand this, Seth. We go ahead and we approve this. X dollars are set aside. If for whatever reason, I mean, that's set aside, it's blocked off, but for whatever reason, there was an alternative or something else came up,
we just wouldn't use that money, right? I mean, it wouldn't affect anything. It's not gonna affect anything.
Right, yep. So,
Okay.
and really how this works is that, what you're approving tonight, some of these alternate routes are for us to continue forward and moving forward with things. You know, we prepare plans and specs, get it submitted to the Department of Health by March 30th, and then we're gonna bid a project in, say, May is what our timeline said before. And in that timeframe, say you had something changed a little bit, we go back, we modify it, and we can obviously take care of those things. If we've already submitted plans to the Department of Health, we have to go back to the Department of Health and say, hey, this has moved from here to here, these are the reasons why, and we go through that process and we get that piece reapproved.
So it's important to put it through now, put it with the main package, included and
Absolutely.
inclusive.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to include County Road 44 in the project.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, the next item is to approve the property research along the balance of the routes.
Motion to approve both the property research and survey work along the balance of the routes.
Okay,
I'll second it.
all those in,
Madam Mayor, could I just make a
Yep.
comment, which I don't think affects your motion necessarily? There was a comment earlier that I wanted to clarify about not needing any easement acquisitions on alternate 2. I don't think we know that for sure. I think that comment was restricted to the Saunders North and South neighborhoods, but not necessarily the case along 110. So just a clarification.
okay. Okay, but that does not affect the motion.
No, I mean, I think that going forward as you're proposing makes sense, but I just, I wanted everyone to understand that we're not certain about the need for easements along 110.
Right, well, there's a lot of things that could happen that will.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that we'll have to address when, or you'll have to address when that happens. Okay, so, did we have a second on that one?
We did.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? 5-0. Approve agreement for design services.
Make a motion to approve the design services.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it, 5-0. And the last one is to retain the right-of-way agent, which I believe the staff is working on, correct?
That is our job to work on, yes, Mayor.
Okay. So look for motion on that.
Make a motion to retain a right-of-way agent.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Okay, and now we're moving into administrative items, approving the claims. Any questions on the claims?
I'll make a motion to approve the claims as listed.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes 5-0. Council reports. I have no reports at this time.
I have none.
I have nothing.
I have several I would like to report on if I could. First of all.
Can you talk into the mic a little bit, Bob?
I have a number of them, so this may take a minute. First of all, there will be the advisory board committee on the Mound Fire Department, which is next Wednesday, which I will be attending. Second, the WCC, West Tonka Community Commerce meeting, they had their monthly meeting today. And I was able to attend that, and also, so was Ann. Very, very good meeting. We had a couple of guest speakers there, both Senator Osmek and Jerry, who kind of gave us an update of things that were happening in the area. Very, very well, and I'm also very proud of the fact that Minnetrista is a part of that, because also not only is Minnetrista, but of course Mound and our surrounding cities that participate in that. So it was very educational, very informative. So I thought that was very, very productive. Also, a week from today, next Thursday, is the Christmas tree. I can't remember how many years this has been going on, but it's the Christmas tree lighting that will take place in Mount. That is a very, very well-organized program, with the Mound Fire Department having a big bonfire, which obviously we'll need this time of the year with the cold weather the way it is, along with entertainment from the local Our Lady of the Lakes and a number of other things. The mayors will be there from the surrounding cities, along with so will Dave Osmick and Jerry Hertog. So that is an event. If you get an opportunity to go, please do. It's kind of a fun thing. It's capped off with Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus coming in the fire truck. So last but not least, I would just like to take a minute, and I would recognize Ann Hunt. I can't tell you of all the things that she has led us and directed in the right direction. She's filled in that position, obviously not that terribly long ago when the previous mayor left us. And because of your efforts and dedication, you have led us and found some alternatives to looking at our water treatment plant, which I think we're on the right track, finding out that not only have we found out a lot of information that was shared not only with the staff and the council, but also with the residents who will be actually using it and paying for it. We also, with your direction, was able to get the feedback, which we were able to get feedback from our residents and the input to put us in the right place and put us in the right direction. That, along with, I've had numerous comments from not only the city of St. Bonnie, but also Mound. We have now, today, have the best working relationship with the surrounding cities that we've ever had. So for that, I also thank you. I'm heavily involved in what happens in and around the cities, and I appreciate the comments that I hear about the direction that has been taken and the working relationship. And that has to do with not only the council, but also the staff. Paul, you deserve a big round of applause for the input and the comments that I've got for your efforts and what you have done along with the staff. And also, as you know, we've heard many times, our roads are in the best position they've ever been in years. So, Ann, thank you for your sacrifices and all the hard work that you've done. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
It's a team effort, and I appreciate this council. I think we had a dream team, and we were very focused on listening to the residents and doing what was in their best interests. And I thank all of you and the staff. This is my last meeting, and I'm not going to do the happy dance for Mike again.
fun to watch.
But I'm looking forward to moving on with my career, and I've enjoyed working with all of you, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Tyler.
I don't really have an update, just a question kind of on that note. As the next council comes in, are there things that we can get them involved with? Because you're interim, and we tabled hiring or rehiring you as the assistant or the city administrator. Are there things that they could start working on to make that process more smooth for the new year?
I did have an opportunity today to meet with Mayor-elect Lisa Whalen. She called me last week and said she'd like to meet with our staff. And so we were able to each meet with her for an hour today, kind of hear what she's interested in doing. One of the things that we did when I became interim was make the suggestion to both Ann and Mark when they asked me if I'd be interested in serving in an interim capacity. And when I agreed to that, I said that what I would like to do is have the next council do that. We kind of know who they are, they're just not here yet. Ann will be leaving us if we don't have a meeting next Monday, which we still have to talk about, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I could have another meeting.
Yeah. So, yeah, if we don't cancel, you do. So we have a couple meetings left possibly this month or this year in November, December, but maybe just December. If everything goes according to the timetable, Ms. Whalen will be the person sitting in that chair for the December 1 meeting. At that point, we still don't have our new council because we have two people that are going to be here on January 5th. So my recommendation then, and as it is now, is to wait for that council to show up and then kind of make a decision on what it is that they would like to do as a group. Bring it up maybe at the first council meeting, I think was the thought we had. So we talked about it. I'll let Ms. Whalen, if she feels like it, talk about it, but, you know, I think the group, as we sit them on January 5th, 2015, that's their job to decide. We certainly could do something different if you want, but I think that was the kind of the plan all along. was let the
No,
new
my
council-
thoughts were just like,
Yeah.
if we get them on a committee or something so they can start that process now, so they, on that first meeting, they can make a decision, rather than
Yeah,
now we wanna go ahead.
I think whatever they decide on the 5th will carry out. If that's to keep me or find somebody to replace me, we can certainly do it. I'm just staying in the interim capacity until the new council is seated, decides what it is they want to do. I'm all for whatever they want to do. I'm in no hurry to jump into being full-time city administrator. There's nothing gained by starting at January 5th. It could be February, March, whatever it is. So
Okay.
there'll have to be some work done. I mean, if they want to retain me or somebody else, I'm sure they're going to want to look at contracts from other cities and kind of see what's offered and all that kind of good stuff. So I can help them prepare for that. So I would do that if I was the assistant anyway, so. So I'm good, but I appreciate it. But yeah, I think we'll be okay in January. There's not a,
Not a hurry.
we don't need a gas pedal that's that fast.
Okay.
So.
He's doing a good job.
So staff reports.
I don't believe we have any. Anybody, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we have any staff reports tonight, Mayor.
November 17th.
Yeah, the only other thing we would have is we because of the snow day on Monday, there were a lot of people here, including me. Tuesday with the holiday, we move our normal Tuesday management team meeting to yesterday. We went through and kind of checked over the agenda once again for tonight. We're not going to come up with any new business items on Friday or Monday, or probably Friday for you, so we have 0 on the agenda for Monday. So if you want to meet, we can, but we're just going to sit here and look at each other.
I don't think it's necessary.
I don't
to
think
do
it's
so.
necessary to meet, so.
If there's
Probably,
nothing
yeah.
on the agenda, why?
Yeah. Well, one of the things we didn't know is what would happen tonight after the work session, talking about the water treatment. If there did come something that we needed to work on, we could have it ready for the 17th. We didn't want to be an impediment to the process. I think we're fine because we just took care of all that stuff tonight, so I think we're good to go.
We will have a decent sized agenda probably
Yeah.
for December 1st with all the final budget, and so
Right.
that'll be enough on that one, but nothing right away for Monday, so.
Right.
So I think
So we have that on what, I'm sorry, the first Monday, that's December?
December
December
1st.
1st is,
December.
A 5:30
Warning.
meeting and then a 7 o'clock.
Okay.
right?
yep.
All right.
I think the 5:30 meeting will be just kind of an overview again of the budget, so you're comfortable with where it is. 7 o'clock meeting will be hopefully the approval of where
Yeah,
it
I
stands.
think we have the public comment first, or you
Yep.
know, the designated public comment meeting, and then
Right.
on the budget.
And we'll have plenty of items, business
Okay.
items. We just
Yeah.
weren't going to come up with any of tomorrow. or
Or
Monday.
have them prepared.
Do you need a motion?
That would be great. Cancel that meeting, yes.
Yeah, I would make a motion to cancel the meeting that is scheduled for Monday.
Okay,
Or make a motion to cancel the meeting that is scheduled for Monday, November
17th.
17th.
Meetings even, or meetings, or both.
Okay, and Arlene seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried.
That's all we have.
Anything else we need to cover? And we need one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second it.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're not going to vote?
I feel like I need to say nay so that you can motion for your
Aye.
last meeting's close. But I'll say aye.
All righty.
Good.
This meeting is adjourned.
Amen.